Empty farmyards echo with silence, broken only by kennel doors clattering against rusted chains in the wind. Feathers drift like snow across abandoned coops where thousands of chickens once clucked at dawn. A collie sits by a farmhouse door, waiting for a master who will never return. But here's what nobody tells you about the apocalypse: it's not the wild animals that suffer most when humans vanish. It's the ones we bred to need us. Because while wolves and feral cats already know the ancient rules of survival, our dogs, our cattle, our carefully bred livestock, they're about to discover that domestication was never a gift. It was a contract. And when humanity breaks that contract by disappearing, nature doesn't forgive. It devours. The morning after humanity vanishes, the world doesn't end with a bang. It begins with confusion. In suburban neighborhoods, golden retrievers pace behind chain-link fences, their water bowls slowly emptying under the sun. Dairy cows bellow in barns, udders swollen and painful, waiting for the morning milking that will never come. Chickens scratch at empty feeders while sheep huddle in pastures, their wool growing wild and matted. The first 48 hours are critical. Automatic feeders run dry. Water systems fail. Climate control in industrial farms shuts down. In battery cages, millions of chickens begin dying within days, not from predators, but from thirst, hunger, and heat. Dogs trapped inside homes scratch at doors until their paws bleed. Those lucky enough to be outside begin their desperate search for food, for pack, for purpose. They don't understand that the world they knew, a world shaped entirely around human presence, has fundamentally shifted. Within weeks, the transformation begins. Grass pushes through sidewalk cracks. Vines creep up barn walls. Gardens explode into tangles of vegetation, and crops rot unharvested in fields. This returning wilderness becomes both sanctuary and battlefield. Feral cats, always half wild, even in domestication, adapt immediately. They hunt mice in the overgrown gardens, birds in the returning forests. Their ancestral instincts, never fully suppressed, surge back to life. But for dogs, the green invasion is more complex. Breeds like huskies and German shepherds, closer to their wolf ancestry, begin forming packs. They hunt, they survive. But pugs, bulldogs, Chihuahuas, breeds we engineered for appearance rather than function, they struggle to breathe in the humid air, to run from predators, to compete for food. Natural selection, held at bay for millennia by human intervention, returns with ruthless efficiency. Cattle break free from their enclosures. But freedom means little when you've been bred for docility. They wander aimlessly, easy targets for the predators, already watching from forest edges. Six months pass. Wolf populations, no longer hunted or controlled, expand their territories. They move through abandoned suburbs like ghosts, reclaiming lands their ancestors once ruled. The confrontation between wolves and dogs becomes inevitable. Some dogs, particularly larger breeds, attempt to join wolf packs. Most are rejected or killed. Others form their own packs, mongrel armies of survivors, neither fully domestic nor truly wild. Coyotes thrive in this new world, their adaptability serving them perfectly. They hunt chickens that escape their coops, young sheep separated from flocks, and yes, small dogs that venture too far from their packs. The sheep that survive cluster together, their flocking instinct their only defense. But without shepherds to guide them to fresh pastures, without shearing, many succumb to heat stress. Their will becoming death shrouds in summer heat. Those that survive begin to change only the strongest, most alert, most wild-minded sheep pass on their genes. Scientists studying disaster zones have given us glimpses of this future. Chernobyl's exclusion zone reveals the pattern. After the 1986 evacuation, domestic animals left behind faced immediate crisis. Cattle and pigs died within weeks, but their deaths fed an explosion of scavenger populations: wolves, foxes, ravens. The dogs of Chernobyl tell a particularly haunting story. Descendants of pets left behind, they've formed semi-feral packs. They're smaller than their ancestors, warier, their features slowly converging toward a generic wolf-like appearance. In just a few generations, the careful breeding of centuries begins to unravel. Studies show that despite radiation levels that should devastate populations, wildlife thrives in human absence. Wolf populations are 7 times higher in the exclusion zone than in nearby reserves. Wild boar populations exploded. The lesson is clear. Our presence, not radiation, is the greatest suppressor of wild nature. "5 years after humanity's departure, the transformation is complete. Former farms have become meadows where wild horses' descendants of escaped domestic stock graze alongside deer. Feral cattle, the few that survived, have grown lean and alert, their horns no longer trimmed, their movements no longer placid. The dogs that remain have segregated by size and temperament. Large, wolf-like breeds control territories in the north. Smaller, scrappier survivors scavenge in the ruins of cities, living like coyotes. The toy breeds, the flat-faced breeds, the breeds we created as a living art, they exist only as bones in overgrown gardens. Cats rule the night, their populations exploding, then stabilizing as they fill every ecological niche their size allows. They are perhaps the only domestic species to truly thrive. Their compromise with humanity always tentative. Their wild hearts never fully tamed. Chickens, surprisingly, persist not the industrial breeds that died in their millions, but the hardy barnyard varieties. They've returned to their jungle-fowl roots, roosting in trees, their eggs hidden in brush, their rooster calls echoing across empty farmlands at dawn. In our absence, Earth doesn't mourn. It adapts, recovers, thrives. The animals we claim to love, to protect, to perfect through breeding, most cannot survive without us. We made them need us, then we left. But life finds a way. Not the life we designed, but something raw, more honest. In the silence of our absence, nature writes its own story, one where survival isn't guaranteed by pedigree or human favor, but by adaptability, by instinct, by the ancient wisdom we tried to breed away. The abandoned world teaches us this. We were never Earth's managers, only temporary residents who convinced ourselves we were in charge. And when we're gone, the wild doesn't just return, erupts from every crack we tried to seal, every instinct we tried to suppress, every natural pattern we tried to control. The howl that echoes across empty fields at dusk isn't mourning our absence. It's celebrating freedom.